Hello everybody, Drifty here from Driftwood Gaming, and today we're going to talk about how you can collab with other people to make one really good RPG Maker MV project. So here are some essential things that you need to know how to do, and also tips and tricks on how to make your collab project better with RPG Maker MV. So assuming you've already found people to work with, you want to assign a role to everybody. You want to figure out everybody's strengths at the beginning and figure out who wants to do what and who's going to do what. So if you have somebody who's really good at making sprites or something, you're going to put them in charge of the art assets, and their job will be whatever that you guys decide it to be, but most likely it'll be making sprites, possibly making maps. If you have somebody who's really good at map design, you want to let that person have full, creative ability to do whatever kind of maps they want, but you also want to decide a theme, but that comes later. So once you've found a team of people or another person to work with and everybody's got their roles, like, okay, you're going to be in charge of handling the database, okay, you're going to be in charge of making all of the characters, and this person's going to be in charge of making all the storyline. Divvy up the roles so everybody knows what their role is in that project. So once everybody knows what they're going to be doing, you guys need to decide the scope of the game. How big is this game? Is it going to be a 30-minute tech demo? Is it going to be a little narrative, 1 hour, 30-minute, 1 hour narrative? Is it going to be a 2-hour game with some complex battle system? What's the goal of this game? How big is it going to be? And you also want to decide key features. Okay, we want this game to have some sort of fishing system. It's got to have this. You guys will decide what key features you want right at the beginning. So you get with your group, you give them roles, everybody decides what they're going to do. You talk about, okay, this game needs to have this, needs to have that, needs to have everything. And you want to write all this stuff down into a Google Doc so everybody can quickly reference that. But that's also, we touch on how to do communication at the end of this one. So you want to divvy up the progress of the game into 3 main sections. Like, okay, we're going to have our start, and then we're going to have our alpha, and then we're going to have our beta and our final version 1 release. And you want to keep the scope as narrow as possible so that you will be able to finish this project. You don't want to say, hey, we're going to make the next Skyrim. There's hundreds of people who work on that to make that happen. So once again, it's like a giant collab that they're doing to make these big games. You want to make the next Final Fantasy. There are literally thousands of people who work on Final Fantasy. So keep the scope in mind. Start small, and if this is your first project, maybe it's not, but you want to, even if you've made a few projects, you want to keep it kind of small and then just build upon it after you get to that next chunk. So for alpha, our goal is to get, like, say, a 30-minute quest line in. We want to have the database set up with the first so many characters. We want to have the first few tiers of skills, and you'll decide what you want in each, like, chunk of the game. So divvy it up into 3 main sections instead of like, oh, we started it, oh, we're done with it. There's several shades of gray in there. Alpha, beta, V1 are 3 main things that you can kind of specify, like, okay, the fishing system won't be added until beta, or this won't be added until the final version, etc. So everybody who's working on the project should make their patch notes. Everybody, every single person, even if they make the art, all they have to say is added, SPR underscore this dot sprite, or whatever they did, and then make notes so that everybody could see, okay, this person did that, he did this, she did that, and everybody can be up to date. So if 2 people are working on, like, sort of the similar thing, like one's doing sprites for the enemies, one's doing sprites for the heroes, but they kind of like, oh, I made this cool sprite, it was originally going to be like an enemy, but it might be a hero. Well, if you guys have everybody's patch notes, you can see, okay, this hero's already been designed, this hero's already been designed, so we'll look at this next hero for that candidate of that sprite. So make patch notes. It's really important for everybody to stay informed on who's doing what and what's already been done, so 2 people don't do the same thing. When you're making your patch notes, you want to include the date, the time, the version that you made the changes. So on, July the 17th, I added this sprite to the folder. So when the person who's handling the master project to put it all together, they can say, oh, I've got to copy paste that sprite, or the player's going to crash when they get an hour in and that sprite can't load. So make patch notes, and it'll just help everybody in the long run. So another thing you want to do, it's really important to copy paste as much as you can of other people's work. So if somebody said, oh, I added these skills, okay, and here's the formula, and it's an all attack, it's much easier just to copy paste things. Because it's going to save everybody time in the end. A part of your team already made this, so you don't have to remake it with the way they said. You could just copy their work to the master project. So I think it'd be a good idea to go over how to do that. And some people may not know how to load two versions of MV at the same time, especially those using Steam, because it just opens up the same thing, right? So how you would do that, this is a little mini tutorial, to open up multiple instances of the same executable in Steam for RPG Maker MV. You open up the first one like you'd normally do, and then you want to go to the folder to where the second game is at. So I'm in Farina. This is the game that I'm collabing with NoobKX. We just started a little collab, so I thought this video would be relevant even for him to watch. Things that you would need to know how to do to work with a team of people or even another person on a project so that the workflow keeps going in the same direction and you don't retrace your steps. So you open up the project, the first one, the same way you always do. You load it with Steam, and then all you have to do is open up the folder of the game you want to, the second instance you want to load. Double click on the game.rpg project, and that's going to load up a second instance. So now we have Dungeons of Driftwood here, and we also have Farina here, and that's going to go back into the copy pasting thing. So if we look at the database here, we've got these heroes. But say the person who's in charge of making heroes added a new hero, and this would be the master project. Well, what you would do, you'd increase your maximum on this one, and you'll go into the project that somebody sent you, and we're going to get into how to upload and the right way to do things when it comes to sending projects next. But then you open up this project, you'll go to the database where the actors are, you'll right-click right here, copy from this project. Make sure you paste it in the same field, of course, so we're in actors. We're going to copy this actor into the other project. So we go right here and we paste it in here. So there you are. You don't have to recreate everything. If one project doesn't have the art assets, they won't be loaded. So you would make sure to copy paste all the files. That's why you need patch notes, so you know what files to copy paste. If the file was already added, you would see the wispy sprite here, and that's that. The same thing will apply to the classes, skills, anything with a field view like this you can copy paste. A little tip that you can use is if you're going to say copy all of these skills to another project, you can left click, hold shift, and then left click. So you left click the top, hold shift, and then left click the bottom. It'll highlight everything in there. So you can copy that, go to your other project, go to skills or wherever it was at, go to the place you want it. And you also want to put it in the same place if it's in a certain spot in case it's being called from a common event or something. So if this was at the beginning, you want to put it in the same numbers, but we're not going to keep this, so it doesn't really matter. Paste it where you have the room for it. It'll put those in there, and you've got all of the information stored right there. So I'm just going to delete these. All right. We didn't make any changes. So once you do that, you've got all the aspects. What if somebody's adding maps, right? We're going to move on to maps now. So if somebody's creating maps for your game, how do you add their maps to your game? Well, you could do it with a PNG, but then you have to use a plugin and set like Yanfly's region restriction and put all kinds of, the numbers to show where they're at. But if you just want to copy the map and actually have it as the JSON file, you can do that two ways. You can copy the JSON file and rename it to a number that fits that's not currently being used, but I highly don't recommend that. What I recommend doing is the same thing. I want you to copy paste it because it's going to make it its own unique JSON file, and everything is going to sync up, and you don't have to worry about overwriting maps that way. So you would do it the same way. So let's open a folder. Let's or we're going to load the game from NoobKX here, and where is this project? Here we go. Same thing, we're going to click the RPG project. It's going to load the second instance up, and say we want to take like this new map that was added from somebody sent me this map and I want to put it in my game. Well, you go here, you copy this, and you would do just what you would expect. You go to your menu and put it wherever you want. So if you want it to be on the main thing, you can put it right here, and you just paste it. And there you have that map. Now it looks funny because you have to add the tile set that was being used in the tile set. So you have to add it into the image slash tile sets, the PNG that it's looking for. Then you have to go into the tile sets and then add that one. So what I would do here is go to this project. I'm going to look and see what tile set is it using. Okay, it's using the village tile set, right? A custom one. So we'll go into this tile set for village. We see that's on 12, so it's already looking for 12. But we're going to copy this one. In case you're already using 12, you don't actually have to. Then you're going to go to the other project, into tile sets. We already have something for 12, so we're going to add new, make the 14th one, and we're going to paste village here for 14. Now we're going to change the one in our game. Instead of to look for 12, we're going to make it look for 14, or village. But it still might not look right. It does, but, well, no, it doesn't. If it doesn't look right, it's because inside the tile set, right here on images, maybe these files aren't added yet. So you would have to manually do that. So how do you do that? Well, you go to image, tile sets. You look for the ones that it's being called on right here. So images. What looks different? Outside, these are all the same. Oh, what is this? Tree cutter _1. I don't know what that one is. That's probably a new one that was added. Once again, if you're using patch notes, you know exactly which one to use. So we're going to highlight that one. If you hold the control button, you can select multiple things and do it all in one fell swoop. So building kit, we're going to go to the B's here. Hold control, left click. Now I have both of these selected. Building kit. Village ground clutter. So we'll go to village ground clutter. So that's only 3 that looks different for this one. So we right click it, we copy. Now we're going to go back to the other project that we're moving stuff to. IMG tile sets, and paste them in there. Alright. Now that we've got those added in here, it may not update immediately, but if it doesn't, save the game, close it, and open it. But this time it did update immediately. So it found those tile sets, so now these houses are being drawn. So you see how to copy paste maps, and it would be so much easier to do this instead of you know, trying to rebuild it, or here's a picture of it and recreate it. You're going to waste so much time of your so much valuable time from your team by doing it that way. So just copy paste the maps. Also, if you want to just make maps for a game that I'm working on, Dungeons of Driftwood, please feel free to do so. It's going to be a free project for everyone to play, so don't expect any money. I'm not going to make any money. I'm doing this just to have another game that people can play. And if you want to contribute, you will be in the end credits and everything. You can make a map and copy paste it, upload it to Google, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. Give me the link and I'll put it in the game if it fits somewhere. So let's go back to our notes here. So once we've learned how to copy paste aspects of other projects into the main master project, including maps and how to copy paste files, it's going to make it possible to do this collab. So once you've got a team of people, this person's in charge of making the sprites, this person's in charge of doing the maps, you want to have a reliable hosting service. You can pay for one. I use GatorHost, but I would prefer to just use Google Drive, because you don't have to pay for Google Drive. It's absolutely free. Just set up a Gmail account and you have a Google Drive with, I think, like 4 gigabytes of free space. Maybe it's more now. But if you don't know how to do that, let's go ahead and do that. So with Google Drive, once you've got, it's pretty simple, make an account. You just put in your name and what email you want. Once you've got your account, you go to googledrive.com or drive.google.com, and then you'll have this, you won't have these files, but you'll have this layout, right? So to add a file, you want to put it in a zip file first. So let's actually backtrack 1 second. So you've got your game and you've made your changes. You've clicked on save game and you want to send your changes to your friends, your colleagues. At this point, you would go to your file, and where you have the game, you select the whole thing. Like this Dungeons of Driftwood folder contains the whole game, right? So you right click it and you want to put it in a zip file. So you'll click send to compressed zipped folder. That's going to make a zip file, so it'll say dungeonsofdriftwood.zip. That's going to make it easy for somebody to just download the entire one file and extract the one file on their computer instead of having to manually make the folders and then make the file and make sure audio is in there, copy or add new folder for data. That's just a hassle. So zip it all up into one file. Once you put it in one file, you'll go to Google Drive. Oops. You'll click on new and you're going to go file upload. You select that zip file that you want to add and you click OK, and then once it'll show a little thing right here and it's uploading. Once it's been uploaded, what you want to do is get a shareable link. So what you'll do is you'll right click it and you'll go to get shareable link. Now you have this right here. Actually, you'll probably want to do a share. So let's go share plus. Yeah, do it this way. So right click it and click on the image that looks like a little person with a plus sign and click, it has share ... Click on that. Now you want to set it to anyone with a link can view. That way you don't need people's email addresses, and if you want to upload, put it on your website or something, you can do that easy too. So make it so that anyone with a link can view. Then you just left click this or right click this and copy it. Now this link will link directly to that file, and anybody who clicks on that in a browser will start downloading this file immediately without any check to see who they are. So if you want to just share it to, if you want to make it so that they need to be a certain email address, you can do that too. There's plenty of ways to do this, and if you use a hosting service, it has other options, but Google Drive is really easy. You saw how easy it is, and all you have to do is in your Ventrilo or something, just paste that. Let's undo that actually. So I don't know where I pasted it. Just paste that link somewhere. We'll put it right here. There we go, paste. So this link will go to that file. And that's it. Give that link to anybody and they'll be able to share. Okay, we spent enough time on that. So get a hosting service. Don't use Dropbox. It's terrible. It's awful. Assign the master version of the project to whichever part that would require the most time to copy, paste, or import. What I'm talking about in the master project is whatever project you're going to load and then copy things into is going to be the master project. Now that doesn't mean that the master version is more important than the other, or it doesn't mean the person who's editing the master project has more or less work, and they're no more important or less important than the rest of the team. All that means is the person who would have to copy whichever version, whoever's doing, oh my god, whatever has the most copy pasting to do, you want to use that, so you load that as your basic thing and then you just copy paste stuff into that project. So obviously if you have somebody who's designing all the common events and setting up like all the weapons and the database stuff, you probably want to use the database focused version as your master project, and then copy paste the maps and copy paste the art assets into that one. And it's all about saving time for everybody. So another thing is communication. You really need to communicate with your team to let everybody know what's going on. Make your patch notes. You can use Skype, Twitter, DMs, TeamSpeak, Mumble, Ventrilo. There's just a ton of ways to communicate with people. Voice chat, text chat, it all works fine. Just make sure that everybody on the team stays informed and up to date on what's going on with the project. Now another thing you want to use is Google Docs, or a new thing that I've just learned about called Evernote. And this lets everybody share documents and like collaborate in a more visual way. So let's look at this real quick. So Evernote.com has this really Google Docs like thing where you can make notes and text files and stuff that everybody who has access to the project can see and edit. So you guys can update stuff in real time and people will see changes. So we can see the story of the game right here, main story, some ideas, some goals, game mechanics, key features you want to have in your game, general theme of the game, so art direction. You can basically have like your guidelines of the game for everybody to see who's collabing in the project, ideas that you're going to have, and special credits, whatever, you know, you see the point right here. But mainly this is to communicate the direction of the project and to keep everybody on point of what's actually the direction you want to take the game and the end result and everything. So hopefully this covered a lot of things that you may need to know in order to collab with other people. It's really important to collab with people if you want to get far, because nobody gets where they're at alone. Everybody has relied on other people from time to time, and it's going to make your project better in the end, because even though you're good at this one thing, you may not be so good at this other part of the game. And making a game is it's 100 different things. It's a lot of art stuff, it's a lot about design, it's a lot about balance, gameplay, mechanics, features, storyline. There's so many things, and that's why people work together in teams to make these giant games, because they realize that working together you're going to get the game done faster and it's going to be better in the end. So collab with people and start new projects and see where you go. And if you've started a project and you're collabing with the team, let me know how it's going in the comments below. If you have any questions about how to collab or how to use something or how to copy paste a certain aspect, let me know in the comments below. This video's gone on long enough. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys did like this video and like to see more content like this, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know you enjoy this. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. All that stuff is really important. Really helps me, lets me know that you guys want to see this stuff, and it helps the channel grow. So thank you guys for watching once again. We'll see you in the next tutorial.